The benefits of marketing with online photos and other images. First off, one benefit showcases the product. It showcases the product. Images of the product can generate interest and online buzz, leading to sales. Getting detailed specifications and technical details in photo form can draw press attention and build confidence with potential customers. So it gives the opportunity to show the product, to be able to show the product not just for the product itself, but show it in action, show it in application, show it in association with various different types of activities, lifestyles, groups, all that sort of thing. Another benefit, it reinforces the brand message. Posting photos can give a strong sense of culture and provide a human face to the company, especially if you're showing people using the product or service. It gives that human touch to the brand. Pictures demonstrate an institution's values and beliefs far more vividly than written description. The idea that a picture is worth 1,000 words. To see a product being used in conjunction with some sort of activity or being used by someone that is very influential can say a lot of things about a particular brand. Another benefit, it drives web traffic. Photo sharing websites and images and videos in general are treated kindly by search engines. So if you're looking for something, it's very easy for images that are tagged well to be able to show up on those search engine results and provide, again, that visual element to being able to create brand awareness for your organization. And a couple more items here. In benefits, creating awareness and encouraging sharing. Posts with images are more likely to be shared on Facebook. Tweets with images get retweeted more often than those that don't. And posts with images are also retained in memory longer. Again, the idea that pictures are able to say a whole lot more. And because of the colors and the imagery that a photograph offers, it is something that remains with us much longer than just words. So the way that we're able to remember things, a lot of times we give ourselves visuals on those things. And if we provide those visuals, that's something that will leave a much longer lasting impression. Final benefit, leverage opportunities to market with low costs. Now, there are going to be initial setup costs, not just financially, but in terms of time investment. But that investment can be sufficient to propel a photo marketing campaign forward. It takes that discipline, though, to be able to give it the time and the energy and effort that it deserves in order for that campaign to be successful. Now, going from the corporate world to your personal brand, how to build yourself through photo sharing. First off, type photo sharing strategies into your professional goal. Picking just one or two photo sharing sites will help you to be able to focus. Again, keeping in mind what the audiences are for those photo sharing sites, what the overall intention is, and picking those sites accordingly. So you obviously want to make sure that the sites you choose are where the people that you want to know about you are hanging out. Second, keep the pictures linked to your professional brand. But in the course of doing so, make sure that you have fun doing it. Pictures are a great way to be able to show a little bit of personality, to be able to give a human sort of connection between you and those that follow you. So candid shots will convey who you really are, help people to be able to identify with you a bit. So one good way to do that is to show yourself at work. Show yourself in a volunteer capacity. Show yourself engaging in an activity that you enjoy that helps to show your personality and to kind of put out who you are on top of that as well. Third, focus on engagement. Post pictures that will encourage commenting and sharing. This way, your brand will be known beyond your circle of friends and contacts. So you want to try to get people to notice what you're doing, to comment on the things that you're doing, and be able to share the content that you're providing. So when you post those pictures, post things that will attract people's attention and want them to be able to respond to the content that you've posted. Finally, be sure not to overshare. There is such a thing as overkill. Monitor which pictures get the most attention and with which frequency. And based on that, you know what your customer base is looking for. So take those notes, take that into account, and post things that the people that follow you want. Now, let's go back to the corporate world, marketing with photo sharing sites. First thing we need to do is determine the target market. Identifying the demographics and behavioral characteristics of the target market enables the marketer to select optimal series of photo sharing sites on which to upload images. So again, where is your audience at? What does your audience expect? What do they expect on the various platforms that they use? Make sure that you identify those things and act based on the things that you find out. By using multiple photo sharing sites for the uploading of images, marketers can expand their reach to different audiences. So you may present images in one way on one site, another way on another site, to be able to reach certain different splinters of your demographic and try to get more reach in that particular way. Select the photos that you're going to upload. The content of photos intended for sharing will likely be different from those used in websites or as part of product content. So here's what we mean by that. When you're posting things for the purpose of a website, for the purpose of showcasing the brand in and of itself, it's probably going to be the more professional, polished sort of videos that or sort of photos rather, that you're going to be posting on those particular platforms in your marketing materials and that sort of thing. Much more professional, polished look. However, the most popular shared images on the various platforms that we're talking about tend to be unplanned or spontaneous in appearance. So these are going to be, again, those kind of candid shots, those things that capture a certain slice of life, pictures that maybe present something a little unusual or offbeat or something that's rather unique to the character of the brand. Those sorts of things are going to have the better chance of being liked and shared by your customer base. Further detailed, up-close photographs draw more interest than landscapes. So in a way, this is something that might be a little different from your basic principles of photography, where you want the unnecessary zoom at certain times, or you want pictures that are a little bit more jarring as opposed to ones that look polished and beautiful. Again, depending on the message that you're trying to portray, they will definitely capture people's attention because they're outside the norm. Use photos to demonstrate knowledge and involve users, not to sell. So we mentioned this quite a bit in the various different chapters talking about various different platforms. You don't want to be overtly selling when you're creating various images and things like that. You're creating awareness. You want your product to be showcased within culture. You want to create a positive reputation as it goes around you and your brand. but you don't want to blatantly come out and say, buy my butter. As a matter of fact, on various photo sharing sites, direct advertising is actually banned, so you don't have the option to be able to do that. However, doing indirect promotion can be effective. You can talk about the product in image descriptions, but you want to avoid overt sales talk. Market the content. Employ social networking tools both on the image sharing website and on external social networks. So you want to, as you are sharing that content and putting it out there, you want to do a lot of cross promotion. Make a link to the stuff that you have on your photo sharing site, on your various other social media platforms, on your website, on your email communications, and any other platforms that you have, to be able to tell people, hey, by the way, we're on Instagram, or we're on Pinterest, or wherever you are. You want to include highly detailed tags in your uploads that facilitate photo sharing. So make sure that if your product is something that is going to be of interest to certain people, that when people type that particular product or type of product into a search engine, that your content is among those that shows up. So use your words strategically in a way to be able to tag those photos so that your content will be searchable. Fourth, secure permissions. Create adaptations, parodies, or tributes to other artistic creations. You can do that. It's commonplace. In some cases, it's even encouraged. However, when sharing repurposed images, it's important to keep legal issues in mind and to avoid taking material without permission or attribution. One of the ways that you want to be especially careful of that is if the brand or the organization that you're a part of perhaps may have some different polarizing messages in which different people may not necessarily agree with the philosophy of how you do business, or some of the standings that you take on certain issues that may not even be associated with the business. And a lot of times creators may take exception to you using their content for those particular purposes. So you do want to keep in mind the different rules concerning copyright and concerning fair use. One way to ensure yourself that you're going to be okay in that realm is to seek out photographs that use Creative Commons licensing. We referred to this a little bit earlier. Creative Commons licensing allows photo creators to retain the rights to their images, even if the images are used commercially or otherwise shared. Now, there's a lot of different aspects to Creative Commons licensing. And just because something is listed under a Creative Commons license doesn't necessarily mean it can be used for any purpose, anywhere, anytime, for any reason. You do want to make sure what aspects of the Creative Commons license are being used. You might be able to use it under condition of attribution, or under condition that you use the image exactly as it is with no alteration, or that you use the image but you have to alter it in some way, shape, or form. There's several different types of conditions that fall under Creative Commons, so you want to check from element to element to know how and why and when you can use certain images that are available under a Creative Commons license. Now, what about if you have a photograph of just a person? Say that you're, in the park and you're taking photos of the trees in the park, and you happen to catch somebody walking across or doing something kind of unique or unusual. This would be a good example of this. It's a good idea to approach that person and say, hey, I wound up taking this photograph and I'd like to use it in some of my stuff. Is that okay? Some people take exception to being used, having their photograph taken first and foremost, and then having it used for certain types of purposes. If the photo is something that's more candid and something that may make that person look kind of unappealing or unattractive, that's especially going to be something that you will want to approach that person on and ask for permission before you just go and use it. All right, so best practices. First off, determine your brand story and your target market and corresponding objectives and metrics. So this is where you ask some of the questions that we've been asking pretty much throughout this course. What is your message? What is it you're trying to say? Who is your audience? What's your target? Where is your audience at? You need to go find them and present that material to that audience where they are at in the way that they expect to see it. And finally, what are your goals? What's your end game in the message that you are sending out? Do you want to see brand awareness? Do you want to see increased likes and shares? Do you want to direct traffic to go to other websites? What exactly is it that you're trying to do? You want to keep all of those things in mind as you are putting your overall strategy together. Second, benchmark against others in your brand category to see how they are using images. Make sure your approach is unique and resonates with your audience. Don't do the same things your competition is doing. Do something that is going to make you stand out from the crowd. Be different. In some cases, even be weird. And those things are going to give you much more of a name as opposed to just another company that's doing such and such. Third, optimize your content by not posting the same content in the same way on every site. Post your content in a way that consumers expect to see that content on the particular site that they are on. And we've talked about that in several different ways at several different times. Realize that the customer is the center of your efforts. The goal should be to get customers to share information themselves. That word of mouth advertising that social media is well known for. Number one, it prevents you from having to do the work and put the stuff out there. But if you create content that consumers appreciate and like so much that they're willing to share, it means that your message is effective and it's resonating with them. Don't just display products. Show products in context of how they're being used. For example, don't just show a coffee cup. Show people enjoying the coffee. You'll remember with the social media marketing plan that we looked at in Chapter 15, some of the action steps was that XYZ Coffee Company in the sample plan that we were looking at was going to try to get increased exposure on Instagram by inviting people to take pictures of them drinking their stuff. So get people to be able to share the content for you and perhaps even create content themselves that promotes your brand. Fifth, don't just display products, show them in context. We just talked about that. Sixth, use images that express your brand's personality. Don't just use images that are static. Use ones that evoke the brand. So you want to be able to not just have the logo out there, but you want the brand to be associated with certain lifestyles, certain activities, certain positive sort of aspects that's going to resonate with the audience that is out there. Use each major platform to its best advantage. Couple of things to keep in mind. Instagram is good for showing off the latest trends. What's happening right now? put that up on Instagram. Now, if you're trying to create content that's going to be curated and built up over time, that is something that is going to be much more appealing to those on Pinterest. So, some things to consider. Find and develop your brand influencers. Build relationships with these key advocates. Again, it's the idea of getting others to be able to speak up on your behalf. Those that consumers are going to trust and listen to and associate with well in a positive sort of way. Find those influencers to be able to speak on a authoritative level in one way or another, and that will significantly help you. And above all, measure and respond. Use hashtags and descriptive titles to help measure the popularity of specific content. Make sure you're replying to comments, giving feedback, showing appreciation for those that do those sorts of things, and that will only help to increase your overall popularity and respect online. So there you go. There are the notes for Chapter 9. Make sure you take a look at the study questions, and then any questions or comments you have, make sure you bring them with you when we talk about these things when we get together.